Like having sex with a woman doesn't necessarily, that's not the metrics of if she's viable for a relationship or not.
It's
Because
not.
True.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of people don't have rules to, sex. Like they have rules that they have sex with people that they're attracted to, but not rules to say, I'm not gonna have sex on the first date or I'm not gonna have sex on the second date. Like some people are open to whatever the scenario is.
Sometimes the girls that I end up most likely falling for are girls that I'm friends with first.
Yes,
I kind of got to
100%.
know. We have personality beyond just sex. You understand what I'm saying?
100%.
And then now we do have sex, and the personality and chemistry is still there. You know what I mean?
yeah, so I get what you're
But-
saying over there. Yeah.
But sometimes you can meet a girl. I feel like if you have sex with a girl and y'all have stuff in common and you like her and you like her after that,
Yeah.
that's more of a connection to me than waiting to have sex with someone and then, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then realizing like, just having sex with them is just is the real person that you meet after that is not even the person you like. You know what I mean?
But what my concern is that, so say for example, if you meet somebody and whatever, you're talking to them, now, before you got to get to know them, say you have sex with them, because sometimes you have sex with somebody quickly within your interaction, because it can be like a physical chemistry.
Yes.
It can, and again, a lot of people don't have rules to, sex. Like they have rules that they have sex with people that they're attracted to, but not rules to say, I'm not gonna have sex on the first date or I'm not gonna have sex on the second date. Like some people are open to whatever the scenario is in that time. So what happens is, if say you have sex early in the relationship, well, now what's the onus for the guy to get to know you if he got that early and then now to invest time to get to know you, that might not be
I see what you're saying, because like I said before, sometimes the girls that I end up most likely falling for are girls that I'm friends with first.
Yes,
I kind of got to know. We have personality beyond just sex. You understand what I'm saying?
100%.
And then now we do have sex, and the personality and chemistry is still there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I get what you're saying over there. Yeah.
But sometimes you can meet a girl and it just could be a physical thing, and all
No,
of a sudden
100%.
you guys get it on, and whatever the case may be, and you know, like maybe like something in your head is like, okay, well that happened too fast. Like she probably do this shit all the time, but at the same time, sometimes you could have that situation and the chemistry is still there.
Yes. So, but that's why I say, like, having sex with a woman doesn't necessarily, that's not the metrics of if she's viable for a relationship or not.
It's
Because-
not.
true.
Yeah.
Because again, you could still have chemistry, because sex is just, it's one piece of the pie,
Exactly.
right? And then after sex, you can find out if like you're compatible in terms of personality, if and then you could see how the interactions are going. Are you going on multiple dates, or are you guys having quality time? All those different things, you could start like evaluating that, and then you can make a decision as time goes on.
Exactly, but I feel like sometimes women would panic because after they have sex,
I
they
see
panic
that.
and they're like, oh, well, I just had sex with you, so like
Is he
there's
gonna leave me,
stipulations.
or
Is he gonna
that
leave me?
too?
Is he gonna is he gonna commit to me? I don't just want to give it up to anybody. Like all of those things will come into play, but it then now make it more about us having sex than the chemistry that we're supposed to have. You understand what I'm saying?
So like that brings me to the point on like a lot of these reality TV shows. And do you believe that in these reality TV shows, such as like Love is Blind or Pop a Balloon to Find Love and all these like different types of shows that come out, do you think that people are genuinely trying to find love in those situations, or they're just kind of going there for clout? They're going there to have a good time, just have a fling, be on camera while they're doing it. What's your thoughts on that?
I think honestly, I feel like people are entertained by reality shows and dating shows and love, because like love is the only thing where it's like you could be irrational as fuck, but you love that person. So it makes all the sense in the world. You know what I mean? It makes all the sense in the world, or whatever the case may be. And we love to watch it because we're going to see people actually put themselves in unrealistic positions and find something out of it. You know what I mean? Because it'll prove to us that this miraculous thing that we call love exists.
Oh,
You know what I
okay,
mean?
okay.
So I
I
understand
never really
that
looked at it like that.
the
Okay.
entertainment value of it.
Okay.
You understand? But at the same time, if I were to go on that show, I feel like I would be acting. I would be
There we go.
like, all right, if I go and pop the balloon, I will have smoke for every girl in the line.
Oh, yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Just in case.
Yeah, well,
Just
if
in
you
case.
watch it, if you already watch it, it
Yeah.
makes sense because you're already watching the show, so you know exactly how the women are gonna come out. So it's
Exactly.
like, all right, I'm ready to shoot back, pretty
Exactly.
much,
I
right?
smoke or
Yeah. Who
I
wants
might,
to smoke? I'm
or it
coming
depends.
here.
I might go with the smoke, or I might come and be Mr. Smooth and Mr.
Yeah,
Suave.
yeah.
Depending on how
Depending
it goes.
on how
if they
it.
bust it all on
Yeah.
you, then you're gonna go crazy.
I guess so. So it comes down to their response.
Yes.
When you first come out, if they're doing these aggressive pop,
Yeah.
You know, like
I'm gonna have the
gunshots, you
smoke
like,
ready,
yeah.
but if I don't want the pop, you know,
Yeah.
I might dress a certain way.
Okay, yes.
I might wear some certain things.
I've
I might-
seen guys that came out nice,
Nice, yeah,
Yeah.
that came
definitely.
out pristine, and they were getting the pop immediately before
Yeah.
they even opened their mouth. They got the pop. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, but then I seen guys got pops and then I want my balloon back when they like what he had to
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
You understand what I'm
yeah,
saying?
I've
But
seen that.
I don't know how you could necessarily go into these situations and be serious. And that's the same thing I feel about
I asked the same
online
question.
dating too. I don't know how you could create a profile and be like, oh, that's me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
but here's the thing. This is how it goes because everyone that meets somebody has a different situation occur to
Mm-hmm.
meet someone. So you could have met someone at the grocery store. You could have met someone at the gym,
Yeah.
library, club. Like there's very unlikely places people meet people and then
Exactly.
end up dating or end up
Dating.
marrying or whatever,
Yes.
getting together. So. That's already something we know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone gets into relationships. Like a stripper gets into a relationship for
Yeah.
crying out loud, right?
Yeah.
So anybody can get into a relationship depending on the circumstances. But for those shows, like you said, people like the unrealistic aspect of like, you know, like Beauty and the Beast type of thing,
Love
where
is
it's like
Blind.
Love is
Yeah.
Blind, and you know, 90 Day Fiance, like
Yeah.
where it's like just funny scenarios of people trying to find love. Some people are traveling across
Yeah.
the world. Some people are you know, paying money for women to come through or faking their lifestyle
Exactly.
to make sure they can attract certain women. So I think we all love to see the different aspects of love and the ways people go about getting it because normal society is already hard enough
Exactly.
for regular people to get together because people don't get together like as organically as they did before. That's
Yes,
why all these shows are very popular because people are like, oh fuck, that's a new concept.
But
Let's
do you
see if
think they
that
set
works.
like unrealistic expectations in terms of romance
I think
for the
those shows,
general public?
in my opinion, those shows, of course, majority of those things aren't going to work. But you have to ask yourself the question: for regular relationships or regular dating, how much of that works?
I think love.
So what are we looking at? Like, I'm trying to figure out what do we-
I think the idea of like love is, you know, like in some cases people want an unrealistic, unrealistic reality.
You're right.
To love.
To
You
love,
understand?
yeah.
And
That's
then
the same.
that goes to Disney
Well,
movies.
that's
that
what
goes
I'm
to-
telling them about real like relationships
Yeah.
now. Like, and how are they so successful? Like at the end of the day, the same expectations are put on real life for people to do extravagant things potentially, right? I seen speaking of this, I seen recently Vibes Cartel proposed to his girl.
Oh
I seen
my
them, yeah.
goodness! Wow.
Yeah, I seen that
I
video.
heard about
so-
it. What was wrong with the
Wow.
video? I
Yeah,
seen
but people were
something.
hating
Yeah,
on
people
it.
were hating
Yeah,
on it.
people
Like,
were hating
oh,
on
my
it.
man
What
better
did he
not
do?
propose to be like this.
Yeah,
So I
they're
don't
like,
know what he did. I didn't watch
Well,
it.
all he did was she was in a hotel room, and then he just came to the hotel room and he went on his knees and gave her a ring. Like that's a simple.
Oh, okay.
It's just a simple proposal. It wasn't like flowers set up or nothing. It
Yeah.
was just she was in her hotel room sitting down, and then he just came in with his boy showing her the ring, and he came in, went on his knee, will you marry me, kissed her. But then someone's like, "Oh, there's no way I would accept the proposal
Yeah, I
like
seen
this," and
people
people
like,
are
roasting
ripping him
him.
basically because he never did anything extravagant.
And that's why they are not married.
And
Well,
that's the unrealistic. That's what people
This is the
like
unrealistic
to see.
thing.
Yeah,
This is what people
expectations.
like to see of
Yes.
like of extravagance.
Yeah.
Because they're basically saying with that type of proposal, how could that be a serious relationship? Like how could she really take that? Like this guy really wants to marry her.
Well,
Like
see, I think a lot of people what they don't understand is the dynamic prior to that that initial step of giving the ring. They don't
Yes.
know what's going on behind the
Yeah.
scenes. All they're seeing is a person presenting the ring, right? The relationship happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And then whatever you see in the front end is just the front end.
But
It
I
could
feel
be
like
anything.
people on social media don't care about
Realistic.
realistic
I know.
love.
I know
they
that.
Want, they want
They want the fantasy.
They want to get engaged for the engagement. They want to
Yes.
get married for the wedding. You know what I
Wedding.
mean?
Well, they want that for the general public. So
Yes.
like for their family, for their friends.
Yes, exactly.
You know, they want to make a show for everybody else,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
But they're not really focused on the internal relationship and what's
But
really going
the
on.
thing is, they use the show to also kind of like, they use the show that they created to kind of use the opinion of what people think to judge their relationship. You know what I
yes,
mean? Like,
yeah.
certain instance, the Vibe Cartel situation, we don't know what's going on between
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
We don't
of
know
course.
how they got to the point where they got engaged. But like, as a female, she's reading that like, my man better never propose to me like this.
Yeah,
Da-da-da.
exactly, yeah.
If she's a certain type of like this society female that's always on Instagram or
Oh,
social
yeah,
media,
no, man.
it will get to her. She'll look at it and be
100%.
like you're a Vibe Cartel. You
Yeah.
could have bought some roses. You could have did.
You could have bought a car.
You
Yeah.
could have bought a
done this,
car.
yeah.
You could have
Yeah.
flew me out
So,
somewhere.
yeah.
You know
So
what
it's
I mean?
more about the overstimulation of social media that's causing women to believe in this
Mm-hmm.
whole fantasy, right? Because you mentioned one thing where you're mentioning Disney.
Yeah.
Disney is like the feel for a lot of women and want that,
Yeah,
want to be
fairy tale.
that fairy tale,
Yep.
that prince,
Princess,
right?
like when
and
you
stuff
raise
of
your
that.
daughter, Prince
Yeah,
Charming,
yeah.
Princess.
Yeah, but
All of
imagine
these
people
things
that
are-
imagine people that haven't even watched Disney. That same concept wouldn't exist in their world,
True.
right? So it's really because if you're intertwined in a society that has that inside, it makes sense that you can be programmed to think like that. And I think it takes a lot of energy to pull back and look at the reality of things.
Well, I think
How much time do you see that?
Yeah, I think people romanticize
Yes.
a lot of shit, right?
Yes.
Like especially with the movies. It's just in real life, some things don't go that way because other people, like you said, from different cultures
Yeah.
don't do that, right? So it'd
Yeah.
be different if you're dealing with someone from a different culture.
Yeah.
Maybe getting flowers isn't a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe, they have different, like I said, you have different things to impress people and not. And some people just don't behave that way. But I think so when outsiders see it, especially online,
Yeah.
online what's happening online is that we're all seeing the same shit and
Yeah.
we're all getting the same opinion, like
Yes.
Exactly.
so we're seeing a narrative and we're all buying into the
Yes.
narrative because again when we see a video of anyone proposing, whether I know women watch their friends get proposed to or certain stuff happening and they'll be like, oh my god, look, her man did this for the guy, like they flew out here and they went to Dubai and they got all these things going on.
But you
so
know,
now you're in a relationship
Yeah.
and your girl's,
And these are
watching
your
it like you
expectations.
said.
This is
And
what you need
yeah,
to do.
I was a victim of this before because it's like too much
Tell
of
me about
watching what other people do, where then you do something that's say lesser to them, like in comparison to someone else, they feel like you don't mess with them
yeah.
like them, you don't love them like that,
You
or
don't
you don't
value
have
them
the
as
you don't
much.
value them as much. So sometimes it does shoot a lot of guys in the foot if like the woman you're with is those social media type of people that pay attention to
Keeping up with
trends
the
and
Joneses.
keeping
It's
up
more
with
of
the
that,
Joneses.
yeah.
But it's a lot of people that subscribe to these unrealistic
Oh no,
expectations.
100%.
And there's so many, and you could be with somebody that subscribed to him, and then they'll be like, it's an unpopular opinion to be like, oh, yeah, I want my man to do this, fly me out, and da 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 da.
Yeah,
da.
yeah.
I'm not like that. But in reality, when her friends, if she's in a group chat with her friends, she's like that.
She like
Exactly.
that.
well, the thing is, they say, tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. So
That's
if your
true.
friends are constantly talking about, oh yeah, my man flew me out to here, or this guy flew me out over there,
Yeah.
eventually you're gonna have that in your mind that I should be flown out. How come I'm not being
Exactly.
flown out?
Does he even
You know,
love me?
Does he love
doesn't
me?
even fly
Exactly.
me
How come
out?
all of them are getting flown out,
And then
right?
now the conversation is now you're with her and she's telling you about her. Oh,
Her
our
friends,
friend just
man.
met this guy.
Yeah.
He took her to Mexico.
Yeah.
And now you're now like, damn.
Oh
like,
damn! This
I-
is like
he-
he's
he
blowing
just-
up the
he
whole
just-
spot.
He just
He's
met
ain't
her.
helping nobody.
I
out
love
here.
her.
Yeah,
Take her to Dubai.
Exactly, right?
like you said.
And even what I was saying in terms of like when it comes to this society and other societies, people will find it strange, especially in Western society, that there are dowries for like other places in Africa when you know they'll be like, oh, you're paying for your girl like she's property, and you know they'll be up in arms, right? Because like they don't understand that culture,
Exactly.
right? When it comes to
you
a
know
bride,
what? I think the truth is the realistic version of love do not sell in this society.
Yeah.
Like we want to buy the unrealistic version of
Yes.
love. Nobody wants to go.
But what sells better, like the unrealistic version or the realistic one?
The
eh?
unrealistic.
Yeah,
The
that's why the
unrealistic-
shows and everything
Yeah.
is very popular because people actually like to watch car crash or car accident,
Exactly.
as they say.
Exactly. You don't want to see like an actual married couple on a TV show for 20 years where like what they do is just so mundane and
Yeah,
boring.
mundane. Because most of the mundane shit is gonna be the successful shit. Most of the
Exactly.
extravagant shit is gonna be where
it's
it ends.
smokes and mirrors.
And we've
It's
seen
just-
that with like celebrities that have extravagant, families that come together, and then all of a sudden it's disbanded, and you're like, oh shit, I thought they were doing this.
I
They're
thought it was gonna be forever.
Yeah, they
You're
had the
like,
whole perfect setup, and that's the thing about love, where just because people do huge gestures, it doesn't make that relationship stronger. What it does is it makes it look better to other people, but the actual relationship itself is going nowhere.
It's going
you get
nowhere.
what I mean?
Or like you like every time you have to do something so extravagant, but like when you guys are together on the ones you can't stand each other.
can't stand each other.
Or like-
but this is what I'm talking about. If you're looking to impress the outside world, you always fail because you never know what's going on in the inside world. Like internally, you don't know what's actually going on. So when we look at these celebrities and people that buy into celebrity love, when they look at them and then they see them break up or they're having a nasty divorce, they're like, "How? What happened? I thought everybody was good. I thought everyone loved each other."
Yeah.
But then it's like you got like Johnny Depp, his girl shitting on his bed, and like it's like
the
all types
antics.
of
That's crazy.
all types of antics going on behind the scenes. She's crazy.
Yeah,
She's
same shit happens.
oh,
But on the
she's-
red carpet, it looked good though.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. On the red carpet, it looked good.
They make it look good.
You know-
Look at Jada Pinkett Smith and
Exactly.
Will Smith, right?
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
What did she
Look
just
good.
say? Well, on the red carpet, it
On the
looks
red carpet,
good.
look
It always
good. But
looks
they have a lot of
good, yeah.
stuff going on in the past.
behind the scene,
Yeah.
right? And then all of a sudden you have like, the family's very dysfunctional, and I don't know what it is and why people keep buying into that narrative that there's this perfect couple, even when we know that
There's no such thing.
There's no such thing.
Yeah.
Even when we know there's no such thing, most people still buy into it and be like, "Well, I want to be like Russell Wilson and Sierra." It was like you have no idea what's going on
But
behind
But you know
the
what?
scenes.
It's an easier buy, right?
I guess.
When they were advertising like, how diamond rings became a thing. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
it is.
it's an easier buy. You love your girl, give her a diamond.
Yeah, it's
That's how.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But like,
it's-
if you really love your girl and you invest some money into her and all of that stuff,
Yeah.
and say, I want to opt out the diamond.
Yeah.
It's not really that easy of a sell as you love your girl, buy this diamond. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
like
an
say for
easier sell.
example, like there's no way you can get away with proposing without a ring, for example. Like, how
Exactly.
could you propose to someone
why
with
did it
no
have to be
ring?
a diamond? People propose with a gold
Yeah,
ring.
people propose with dowries.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
you don't
yeah,
need
so
to
that's
propose
the
with
thing.
any ring.
But that's what I'm saying. Or
Yeah.
with any
With
ring.
any
Yeah,
ring.
This is what I'm saying. We're caught up in this cycle. Like we're in this matrix of where they're force feeding us what we should buy into as like, you need to get those Louis Vuitton shoes.
And you know what?
You need to get that
a
Louis
lot
Vuitton
of people,
belt.
A lot of people buy into it.
Yes.
A lot of people.
Yes.
And sometimes you have to catch yourself because
You do have to
buy,
catch
you
yourself.
buy into it. I buy into it.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
of course.
Sometimes
Of
it's
course.
like, yo,
we
like,
all do.
You
To
know
a
what I
certain
mean?
extent, we all do.
And it's easier. It's an easier.
No,
okay.
you know what it is? We got caught when we were kids. They were
Yeah,
brainwashing
that's
us,
good.
indoctrinating us since we were children.
Exactly.
All the way until you get to adulthood. So when you're flipping the channels, especially when we had cable TV,
Oh.
buddy, commercials were at least 20 minutes long. Like you had 15 minutes of a show to like 20 minutes.
5 minutes of commercial each time.
So
Like
with every 5 minutes,
yeah,
there was a
there's a commercial
commercial.
break.
Commercial break.
Within an hour, you've seen like 5-6 commercials.
You're getting killed, hammered as a kid
Like
with all
I've
these
seen
commercials.
I've seen some. I'm like, they're like, yeah, the diamond ring was just introduced in like in the 1950s.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
made it a thing.
yeah.
Like, it was never a thing.
It was never
Yeah.
a thing. That's what I'm saying. So they just they insert things
Yeah.
slowly, and it's subtle, especially when you're a kid. You have no idea. You're just like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just watching this, but
And you know what?
unconsciously, it's actually hitting you.
You know
But
what?
again, what makes more sense to businesses? Because I always think like love has to do with business in this country. Like love
Yes.
is gonna have to do with business. And what's the incentive for businesses to have, love be successful without the extravagance that's attached to it? Like, where's the business? Where's the business model for that? Because at the end of the day, with people being like extreme about like stuff like marriages and getting diamond rings, like these are supporting a lot of industries.
Yes,
like the ring industry, obviously diamond industry, jewelry, and all that. Then obviously the wedding planners, venues, all these different things. So flower companies, like all the shit that comes with like the extravagance of like, finding love and pursuing love and, buying into going on dates and doing all this thing. This is a societal thing that makes society run,
what's so
though.
crazy?
Yeah.
Like, you could be someone that knows better, but it's like going against it is a whole different conversation. Like, you know what I mean?
100%.
Like,
That's
you could be a
the other
person.
too,
going
that
against
knows
the grain of
We
better.
could both sit here and be like, you know
Yeah.
what? Diamonds are made in labs now.
Exactly.
And basically, it's really not gonna be worth anything I pay for.
Nothing.
It. We could take that money and put into Bitcoin or do that. I could talk to a girl and she'll be like, yeah, you know what? You're right. But I still want
Want
that
the
ring,
diamond,
though.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
you'll never get away
you'll
with
never get away with it. So now
we're gonna have to make
have to do
concessions.
it.
No,
But
there's gonna
see,
be
but
concessions we have to make to a certain extent.
But say you're that type of person, right? So if everyone was indoctrinated on one way and you're that type of person, realistically, do you think that's gonna work with a woman in this society? You can go there and be like, yo, listen, like
that's how you
rings
have to
aren't really
switch.
worth
You gotta
much,
switch
like-
societies. If it doesn't match your thought process, you got to switch societies in terms of like you have to go to a different country. Where
So you don't think that would be like just rigid on the thinker? Because what I'm trying to say is, if
you
things are
have to make some
operating-
concessions.
Okay,
if that's the case,
that's what I'm trying to say.
You got to
like-
make some concessions.
Because I'm like, you might not believe in that, but obviously, if general societies believing in certain things, we all know we're not gonna be totally against everything societal. Like
Of
we're gonna
course, of
follow
course, of
certain
course.
stuff.
So
We have
this-
family members. We have certain things, certain
Well,
obligations.
put it this way: there's a lot of political agendas that are being pushed and narrative being pushed out here. We don't need to necessarily follow all these agendas.
Exactly,
But we
but-
do have to go along,
In
right?
But
society,
sometimes
you
you
gotta
gotta
behave
dance.
as
We
you
gotta
You
gotta
have
do
to
do
those
dance,
that.
and sometimes
Yeah.
it's better to dance than to all the way go left. Because
Yes,
sometimes it could be
yes.
like you could be with a woman and be like, okay, you know what, I don't want a ring, but her dad is like, oh, what kind of man?
Yeah,
you
what
want?
kind of
I'll
man?
get you a
That's what
ring.
I'm saying. That's why I said you have to make
You can't
Let me
concessions.
just
really
buy
get
this
away
ring.
with
Let
it. You
me
can't
just
really
buy this
get
ring,
away
so I don't
with
gotta
it.
hear all of that. You know what I mean? Like,
Not
Well, even
everyone-
getting
yeah.
married, generally speaking, like
Yeah.
if you just go, oh, like let's not get married, let's just like do this.
Everyone's looking at
relationship.
you funny.
So
like,
does that-
your
does that-
parents are looking at you
yeah,
funny.
exactly.
Their
Everyone
parents are looking at you funny.
You don't want a wedding?
What?
What's wrong with
Like,
you?
what's wrong
And
with
now,
this
like
kid?
now,
Yeah.
does that, like, as a person that know better and you confirm to it, like, what does that say about you? Are you smart or are you just as dumb as everybody else? You
I
know
think
what I mean?
we acquiesce, bro. We choose
We have
things
to.
because we have to, because it's too difficult to go too far left every
Yes.
single time. It's
Yeah.
way too difficult. There's too much
Ostracization.
Ostracization. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Tough one, tongue
Yeah, that was
twister.
a big one.
But basically, you're gonna be pushed out of the norm of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And if you go that route, you're gonna be criticized a lot. I think that's why people don't do it, because it's criticism. You're gonna have family members, people questioning you. But I think if you have a certain stature, you can make those power moves. You can do it how you want to do it.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's kind of when you're in that situation. But if you're under normal societal pretense of like, you know, the regular rules of society, you're following majority of them, you don't have any leverage in any other sense where people would be, this doesn't make sense.
I agree. And
Yeah,
that's a
like,
big point.
because when you're doing shit and you're big and you're somebody,
yeah,
it's
you-
like, well, obviously you're doing shit different. Like, you can't be doing shit
Exactly.
of
The
what
regular-
society,
regular
if
they're
you're
doing.
super successful,
Yeah,
and
that's
you're
what I'm
like,
saying.
oh, and you have a mansion, you're a millionaire, and all of this stuff, and you're like, I don't want to buy a ring. The parents be like, hey, listen
Forget
to that
about
guy.
the ring.
But if
Yeah,
you
like-
have a regular job,
That's
and
what
all
I'm
of a
saying. You're
sudden
in the
now,
follow
everybody. You're following everybody else
So
to
they
do
put
it.
you in a box.
Who the
Yeah.
heck
you are?
you are?
They
Yeah.
definitely
you want to
box
have
you
a regular
according to
job,
that.
and now,
They
but
box
you
you
want
in. They
to,
box
you don't
you
want to
in.
buy a ring, but you could have a regular job. Nah, stop it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny.
Well, you get
'cause-
ridden off, right? Because it's like you're not doing anything other than norm
Extravagance,
or
yeah.
extravagant
Yeah,
for
but-
you to be sitting here talking like that. Crazy.
But here's the thing, like, say for example, in some scenarios, I would suspect that, like, say a girl's going out with a guy that's successful and, like, say lavishes money, but say he's not romantic. So say he's not the type to go get you flowers, the type to go, do something special for you, but you know he got money, and if you go out to eat, he's paying for everything, he's doing all that stuff. Like, she still might stick around with them, but if it, like you said, it was a regular guy, and he doesn't have, say, that leverage in terms of his status or money, what he can do, all of a sudden the expectation like, oh, you never bought flowers, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. So it is dependent on where you are in life, I think.
Exactly.
Where the expectations of that, because like I said, if someone's successful, driving a crazy Benz and this and that, you're not really asking them, oh, how come you're not romantic and get me flowers? Like,
it's funny. It's actually mentioning that
would be less.
Mentioning that when you're saying expectations would be less is also it makes me think about even guys that become like polygamous when they do have money. It's like, I'm not living to the regular standards of life because right now I'm making this amount of money, right? So it's like, you want me to live like down here when I'm up here. So I'm gonna live how people would live up here. You know what I mean? So
I think the point that you made is very like, people only judge you when you subscribe to society norms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you don't subscribe to society norms, people are very accepting of your lifestyle. Because, like, for instance, like me and my cousin, we always have this like joke where it's like, if you were a regular guy and you had a regular job and you had a woman and you step out, then you're cheating.
yes.
If you were rich and you had a lot of money, then that woman is trying to steal your man. You know what I mean?
There
Like,
you go.
it's the whole
the perspective.
So
Yeah.
different perspective.
this perspective, but it's the same. It's
the same
they're both
thing,
guys,
it's a
but
different
it's just
narrative.
that they're just in different parts.
But that's what I'm saying. So even with the cheating thing, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. If polygamous as a regular person, that's
No
like
go.
a mortal sin.
Yeah, why would you do
Mortal
like what are
sin,
you
how
doing?
dare
How
you
dare you
do
have
it?
a job and try to
It's
have two
forbidden,
girls?
you know what I mean?
What's going on with
Defeated.
you?
But then
That's
it's like,
hilarious,
but
though,
then it's like when they're rich and they're successful, it's like,
Oh, I see
wow,
why
I
he
mean,
did.
it's expected.
Yeah,
it's
Bill
expected,
Gates.
you know. But
Yeah.
he still come back to you.
Yeah, well,
he still
he
come
loves
back
you.
to you.
Yeah,
You know,
it's the same thing like what we see with sometimes we'll see people with multiple say celebrities, multiple
baby
mothers, and like people are not really obviously the other girls that are coming to the guy, they could care less that he has 5 baby mothers.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
did a
mean?
6th or the
So like
7th.
Yeah.
again, so status unfortunately does dictate,
dictate what
the
you can and can't
expectations
do.
that are put on you.
I heard
Because if you
women
can do
hail
more,
like
you
Wolverine
have
when
more
you
of
have
a-
money, man.
Huh?
I heard women hail like Wolverine when you have money.
Oh my
That's
God,
what- that's what I
exactly.
heard.
Well, that's the thing, and it's kind of crazy when you look at it in that sense, like how the motivations of us or our expectations change with like simple stuff like that. So you kind of ask yourself, like, our society is based on conditions then. So
Yes.
if you're
It is.
It's
making
always
money
been that.
or
It
if
is.
you're somebody that's, well respected, you have the ability to get away with certain things.
Buddy,
So
look
many
at the
things.
Balthazar guy from Equatorial Guinea.
Oh, yeah, did you not hear of
400
that?
women.
I heard about
Yeah,
that.
What
you
are we
heard
before.
about
doing
that,
out
right?
here?
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I
400
mean? And he's like sleeping with people that are
politicians'
Politicians'
wives,
politician
uncles,
wives,
girlfriend,
the
he's
police
wilding.
chiefs.
Police chief.
Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, director of security,
Yeah,
like
man,
buddy.
this
How is
guy-
he able to do all of these? Because he doesn't confine to regular society.
Society,
norms.
exactly. So for
yeah.
regular people looking at that, like, how? This is
Yeah,
insane.
impossible.
Yeah.
Well, I
Impossible.
can never even fathom. Of course not. You're
Yeah,
regular. How
exactly.
can you?
He doesn't work a regular
Yeah,
job. Like
yeah,
he's
yeah, like
he's in the
director of
office. It's like, come see
finance.
me at the office.
Exactly. But people will be fine with it. People will
Buddy's
be fine
related
with
to the
it.
president. Like, how could you even like?
Yeah.
You're not in the same orbit space as that guy.
Exactly.
Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
But this is why I say that, like, and it comes down to like sometimes power, because those that have power, the rules are different, and I think so when you hear someone, so say for example, say me, say I'm put it on me and say, oh, you're nobody. So say I'm a nobody, and I say the rhetoric of somebody that has something. Like if I agree to that rhetoric, people would be like, why are you agreeing to that? Like you'd never be in those positions. Like, but sometimes I always ask myself, well, how do you get this thought process? I don't think people that have money or are successful get this thought process once they become successful. I think they had it to a certain degree, but
Yes.
now the money came. Now they're like, oh, I can capitalize because
They're
I think-
exerting their power, their rights that they have now that they have.
yeah,
money.
because I think like someone that wasn't a playboy or something like that, if he gets money, he's not gonna automatically turn into one
Yeah.
and start changing his ways. He's
Yeah.
gonna be like, no, this is what I was.
I have that conversation
And then
all
I'll
the
be-
time
you
too.
know.
I feel like money makes you just more of who you are.
Who you
Yes.
are, because
It
I don't
doesn't
think it will
change-
change
yeah.
like too much
Change you,
things
yeah.
drastically unless you're introduced to a very different different world,
lifestyle,
different
yeah.
lifestyle. Because as you know, we've seen celebrities that went from like a child star to like a drug addict or goes to jail or ruins their career. We've seen like Amanda Bynes and like the Macaulay Culkin and just all the kid stars, even Justin Bieber for that sake.
Even
like,
look at Ariana Grande, like she's
getting
like
skinny,
but and what she was before.
A lot of
it's I think that's just like the Hollywood like pressures of
that's the
pressure of Hollywood, but
that's
it's also the
pressure of
comments.
fame,
No, but it's also
and
with
comments,
the comments that they get from their fans and people hating on them, and then you got paparazzi everywhere taking pictures of them.
I think that's the pressure of fame. Like fame in Hollywood and all that stuff is a different thing. Because like I think you have to say yes and no to a whole bunch of things.
Yes, that too, right?
You just have to be on drugs to be numb to. That's different. I think like if someone just handed you like $5 million as who you are today, nobody knows you, nobody knows that. It's just gonna make you more of who you are. It's gonna make your ideas. You know what I mean? Your ideas flourish. The things that you already believe in that you couldn't act on before,
you're gonna amplify that.
On it now. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
Everything you've wanted to do potentially can be done, and you might get it done. So
and then now you don't even have to listen to people in society judging you. Over
the criticism,
the criticism is
irrelevant.
Gone. It's
irrelevant. You can do whatever you want to do, and then you don't have that over your head, right?
Exactly.
So I think that's why they say like sometimes people like to have the financial freedom, and so they're able to do whatever they want with less criticism, whatever it is. Because I think we even complain about people spending a lot on certain shit that you would deem as dumb, right? Like
until you have the money.
Until you have the money, then you're like, you know what? I don't mind that the grocery store being this expensive in this area. You get what I mean? I can get a $20 smoothie. I can get something that's more expensive in an area which would be ridiculous to someone else, because whatever you can afford is kind of how you play the game, right?
True,
you know how it is. You're a little more. You can put more on the table when you're up. You can put more on the table. Take a bigger risk on certain stuff.
I think it's just once you have the kind of or money or the success that you need to not play by society rule, is the only way you can really go against it. You know, it's harder. The pressure. The more normal your lifestyle is, the harder it is for you to go against society norm. The harder for you not to get that ring. You know what I mean?
So you think those people that are doing these things already have to have that mentality basically before they get to that point?
Yes, you have to have the mentality in you already.
Like what I'm saying is you can't have the mentality of like, I'm just gonna work a normal job but have these extreme views of how I want like things to operate in my life.
I agree with that.
But see, the only reason why I would disagree is because those views come before you get to where you need to get to. It's not when you get to where you get to, then the ideas come.
I think you have the views, but I feel like acting on the views is less likely.
Yes.
Until you're where you need to be. Like I can have the view now and be like, buying a diamond ring is dumb. But like if I'm in a position where I know like I'm gonna get a lot of outside noise, I'm just gonna buy the ring because I don't want to listen to outside noise. Yeah, you don't want to listen to outside noise. But if I'm in a position where like, yo, we're going to be on the island in Central Pay somewhere and we don't have to hear none of your relative talk about how I didn't get you a ring, I'm not getting you the ring. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think like where you are financially would help or hurt your chances in like getting with somebody? Like getting with your person, like a person that you believe is going to take you to the finish line or someone you can end off with. Do you think that you financially being like successful, do you think that hurts or helps your chances in finding that person for you?
I think it helps. I think it helps in the sense of like I think it helps in the sense of the fact that what do you mean like
so exactly. In the finances, so say for example if you're making what an average person would make in this country, so say what 50,000 say for example, so let's put that as the base of an average person, and then say you're making $500K a year.
Okay. I feel like the relationship.
So which would
realistically, I feel like the relationship would be highly more successful if I was making $500K a year versus me making $50K a year.
But why? Why?
Because like if you unsubscribe to like the whole like love, this love fallacy that we have in our head
Mm-hmm.
and compare it to like what a relationship is and what you want out of a relationship, I feel like when you have the money and the means to do so, you're in a better position to actually have a successful relationship.
Okay. What's your thoughts on that? Like financially, do you think that helps or hurts your chances? Like if we starting off with somebody making say 50 grand and then say you making 500 grand. If you're at that stage, does it help you or hurt you?
So are we saying that you found the girl when you were making 50 grand, or you found the girl when you were making 500 grand?
Trying to find somebody at those different stages. So
I think
which do you think is more difficult to find your person?
I think it would be more difficult finding your person at 500,000.
Why?
Because at that point you don't know who's genuine anymore. Because everybody's gonna be coming at you,
Yeah.
especially when you're making that much money. You're gonna see like there's gonna be people that have been there already, that have known how to deal with people that are in that tax bracket. Right? You're not their first. It's not their first rodeo with you.
Right.
Right? So they're seasoned vets. So they know exactly
But-
how
but-
to talk to you, what
but-
to say, how to like
It depends on the demographic of the people that you're still chasing. You can have 500K and still be going out with girls that have 50K, 40K, or whatever the case may be. You don't have to definitely be. You could.
You're gonna
like,
change. You're gonna change as you go
Yeah.
up on the level. As your levels
Yeah.
increase, the tier of women also increase as well.
Yeah.
But you can find a woman that's making like 50K or whatever. But
No.
you're gonna carry
You
yourself
can still
different.
find someone genuine no matter how much money
I'm not
you
saying
make.
that you can't. I'm just saying that
You think it's
gonna
more
be
difficult?
It's gonna be more difficult to pinpoint what you're looking for because you're gonna run into seasoned vets that have been there, dealt with guys that are making your amount of money, so they'll know exactly how to talk to you and say what they need to say to get you to commit to them. While as when you're making 50K, they're seeing you at more of a
You
a
mean
time.
somebody that wants you for you, basically.
No,
What you're-
there's always conditions.
Yeah.
Whether you're
There's
50K,
conditions.
That's what I'm
whether it's
500K.
50K or 500,000K, it's the same thing.
So what do you mean by genuineness then?
Well, genuine in the sense that you're not. I think you have a lot more to hide when you're making 500,000K than when you're making 50,000K.
As you as a person or the people that you're meeting will have a lot more to hide?
No, you have a lot more to hide because when you're making that amount of money, you should be guarding it, safeguarding it.
Absolutely.
You should be safeguarding it because, like,
Not many people make that type of money.
not
You have
much
to
people
understand
make.
how hard it is.
Yeah,
to
it's
make
very
that.
hard to make that amount of money, and then also you have to make sure the people that are coming into your orbit space are there because they really mess with you. And when you're making that much money, it's really hard for you to think about like a relationship. You're worried about this business and how this is going. You got a lot of stuff going on at the same time.
let me look at this at a different perspective, right? If you're making 500K, right, and let's say like obviously the people that are making less than you you have to protect yourself. You have to be genuine. Like you have to make sure that they're here for good reason. They're actually genuine and da 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 da. But you are now hanging around with a network of other people that's also making 500K a year. The people that you're meeting, the women that you're privy to meeting are also in that. Like you have a higher chance of meeting women that make 500K also when you make 500K. Do you understand what I'm saying? You have a higher chance of meeting those type of people. And if both of you guys meet and I'm making 500K, she's from a wealthy family, da 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 da, she could help me turn that 500K into millions. You know what I mean?
How much times have you seen that happen?
I'm just saying it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen as often because when you have 500K, you're still dating people that have 50K. And you're dating maybe like the people that you're dating that have 50K, they might look better. They're probably seasonal vets of like dealing with people that have 500Ks and all of those things. But if you were genuinely saying that, okay, I'm looking to make a power couple I think having 500K will put you in positions where you can meet. If you're a person that, you know what I mean, like you understand what you're looking for and you understand what you want and you're not giving in to lust, I think making that kind of money will put you in opportunities to meet other like-minded people that are also striving for those type of opportunities.
Yeah, I did want to say that too, because I was saying, like, think if you made a 500K, what do you think's more likely? People that are making 500K starting families, what do you think's more likely to last or even form a marriage or whatever? People that are making 500K or people that are making 50K? Like, where do you think the rates of success of relationships in those times? I'm just saying,
Yeah,
rich
500K.
people,
I would say 500K.
Rich people divorce less than.
But that's what I'm saying.
Poor people,
500K,
for sure.
they would be more inclined to have a successful marriage.
And no, because you're talking about like seasoned vets.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say a fifth person making 50K would be a seasoned vet. I wouldn't say they would be the seasoned vet. It's a person that is in your social circle that is around the money. They would be seasoned vets. They would be around people that are making that much, because what women are in those rooms with you and your colleagues that are making that much.
Exactly.
Those type of women would be the ones that would know how to deal with that, and that wouldn't overwhelm them or wouldn't be something to change their life. You get
But
what I mean?
who's the one that's doing the suing? Is it the girls that are in the 500K bracket or the ones that are in the 50K
No,
bracket?
I wouldn't say. I would say in both cases. I mean, somebody smarter would get you for more than somebody like that has less resources. Your more dangerous opponent would be somebody that has heavy resources. Because if she knows, okay, I can get a lawyer, this expensive lawyer, to get you for what you got, that's more of a dangerous game to play, in my opinion. You'd rather go for the woman that is making less in that sense. Not making less. If you go for the woman that's making more, the chance of success is higher just because the networking, right?
Yeah.
But they're more seasoned and they could mess you up more than a chick that is making less than you, because they might not know. You can control the environment a lot better when you're that much more successful than somebody. I'll be honest. This is how power dynamics work. When someone's a lot more powerful than you, they don't understand even the concept of that.
Yeah.
You get with some. If we bump into someone that's making 500,000, that's extremely impressive. Like like all of us, we couldn't fathom 500K coming in 1 year. We couldn't fathom that.
Yeah.
That's like something a regular person can't even think of.
Oh yeah.
500K 1 year. So that's what I mean. That alone would, like, you know, put a lot of pressure on whoever he's dealing with, and they'll be like, oh, I don't want to mess this up. I don't want to, you know, I'm gonna
rock the boat.
I don't want to rock the boat. But like I said, I think that it's you have a chance when you have a lot of money. I think what happens is you have to be more thoughtful of who you deal with. I think it's easier to like have a relationship out of that, but like he said, you're probably thinking more business now. You're probably thinking more longevity, combining families and stuff of that nature. I think love goes out the window where business becomes a little bit more on the front line.
That's why I was asking him about what do you mean by genuineness? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if you want a successful relationship,
it's not going to be based on that.
It's not based on that.
No.
I know it comes down to conditions. It's
Yes.
always conditions.
It comes down to condition. But if you want to like fall head over heels for someone and like have this unrealistic version, it's definitely going to be harder for you at 500K because you're going to see life for what it really is. You know what I mean? But like if you're at 50K, then you're going to subscribe to those notations more. Like, oh, like I could meet somebody that can change everything and I could fall head over heel over this person. It doesn't make sense, but I want to be with.
Yeah, you'll just
that you can find at 50K. But when you get to 500K, or you get to that kind of money,
it's more business.
You start thinking about what it takes to have a successful relationship versus what it takes to be in love.
Yes, I think so. So you're saying that. So basically, you're saying money would change your whole idea of like romantic love. Like,
I think so. I think
you wouldn't like. You probably would lose the romantic side of love. I mean, you'd understand that there's stuff to lose now.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so, and I think for like to. Not to like kick romance on us down. Like I'm a romantic too at heart, but at the end of the day, I feel like once you get power to a certain level or you get wealth to a certain level, you start to see the world better without all these society norms that people subscribe to. You know what I mean? You can have love, you can have romance, you can have all of these things, but it just has to make sense at 500K. You know what I mean?
So,
versus at 50K, where it's like, we don't even have the money to do this, but we're doing it. We can't
just out of
afford it,
love,
but
yeah.
we're doing it out of love.
yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna take her to this trip. I can't barely afford
Afford
to.
it.
Yeah,
I'm
just to
putting
make-
my
credit
student
card.
loan to the side.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
She needs this trip
They're
because her
racking up
friend.
the credit card debt.
Yeah, exactly. Because her friend likes to go on vacation
Yeah.
and that. Like now
Yeah,
you're now
no,
living
saying
like
you're
this
not
unrealistic.
unrealistic lifestyle to keep up with that fantasy of like love and certain
Exactly.
things. Yeah.
And then you getting all these complaints and you can't really be the person you know what I mean, like want to be in a relationship because of all these limitation that not having enough money puts to you. You're mad all the time, you're
Yeah.
frustrated. Like love is hard when you're making $50K a year. Now you have kids and
Of
you can't
course,
afford
love
the
is
kids.
crazy.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
it's
Like
stressful.
it's stressful.
Yeah, definitely gets stressful. It's interesting though, like I said, with how money makes the dynamics of how you view relationships a lot more differently. Like
Exactly.
it's just crazy how that makes a difference. But that's why even when we go back to the dating shows and we look at some stuff and we're like, well, that's kind of ridiculous or this is a little bit crazy. But like I said, love is crazy. I mean, we see the most unlikely situations work out, and then we see them fail and crash and burn.
But you know another crazy thing about these a lot of these love shows that we see in like just Western society,
Yeah.
there's not much diversification. Like there's not much diversity inside these shows. Like a lot of the times, it's mainly Caucasian people that are on the show. You'll have the one,
In North
two,
America, for sure.
Yeah, you'll get the 1-2 token black guy
Yeah.
that's there. No Asian guys, no Indian guys. So what does that say to people of different ethnicities?
Like, do you think there's an equal playing field for people of different ethnicities when it comes to like in North America? Like, is there advantages to
We
certain
just have to look at
groups?
like who the shows are made for. You know what I mean? If we're in North America, the majority of the population is not us minorities at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know? So if I'm gonna make a show and I want a lot of people to subscribe to whatever I'm selling, I understand why the majority, like why there'll be a 1-2 black people here, 1-2 Asian people.
No, but I barely see any Asians.
There is. You see like a 1-2, literally a 1-2.
1-2?
You know what I
No,
mean?
but we seen a funny show, The Bachelorette, and
Yeah.
it was the first Asian woman they put on the show as the woman that everyone's pursuing.
Yeah.
And the guy on TikTok was like laughing. He's like, "Oh, they're showing diversity. They're bringing the first Asian woman on the
Yeah.
show." So it's funny, actually. A guy we know happened to be on the show. Which is
really?
hilarious,
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
yeah, but the guy's going through the casting and he's like, "Oh, let's see if they got like an Asian guy in here." And then the casting was literally like everyone but an Asian guy. Isn't that
Can you
hilarious,
imagine?
dude?
How do you
It's
have
like,
an Asian woman
how
and
do you
not
have
have
the
a
first
single...
Asian woman? You don't give her Asian choice. So like sometimes like you know
You gotta
media
ask, like,
dictates,
what are we doing?
Yeah,
I
media
mean-
dictates like
Media do dictate, and I just don't. All these shows is just like I think like they just put you in the most unrealistic position to find love, and if you're able to find love, you know, like it's just like it sells that unrealistic position even more. Like
Yes.
you could make a crazy show like let's go to the desert and find 2 people to find love in the desert
Yeah,
while they're
yeah.
starving.
Well, don't
you know
they
what I
have all
mean?
these-
Like,
they have-
Yeah, no.
bunch of them
These are storylines for sure. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, what I'm actually looking at is the fact that, okay, of course you're gonna market it to the majority, not the minority, right?
Yes.
But then after, now if you look at black communities, and then you see brothers going to other ethnicities, or you're seeing them going to Caucasian women, it's like, is that so surprising?
Yeah.
When that's being marketed, like, I mean, every TV show you look at, that's
Yeah.
what's being marketed.
But that's where our people draw the line. Like we don't, we wouldn't subscribe to that. You know what I mean? Like in
Some
certain-
people would.
Some people
would
would.
subscribe to that.
Like, but the majority of people subscribe to it. But like the I don't
The
know.
minorities
The minority, like the minority or like the voices of like Black Twitter,
Yeah.
will come out against you and say, "Oh, that's wrong." But in reality, that's where we're selling. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? That's what's being pushed.
That's what's being pushed.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
But is that diversity? What do you think that is?
do I think that's diversity? I mean,
Like, what do you think that is?
in a sense, yeah, as like, in a sense, it's an agenda that makes sense for the masses, especially from North America. You know what I mean? If the majority have to be acceptance of the minority, so it's like, why don't you want to see a mixed relationship? It makes sense, you know.
You think it makes sense because again, like a lot of these shows and stuff like that, you can obviously see, you know, what direction they go in, and a lot of them, I think they have these shows that they get like, you know, model looking people and stuff like that, and have them come together. But they even in those shows they try and stick to like a certain group, right? But don't you think that?
And they would be actually the minority, the people that are like models and stuff like that.
They're minorities to begin with.
but-
Like,
So
it's
who are they
unrealistic.
marketing
that
So
to?
what I'm saying is unrealistic to begin with.
But
So
like the
why don't you
optics
just make
is
it?
the optics is what do people like to see? Like people would like to
Yeah.
watch two attractive people on a
Getting
TV
together,
show
yeah.
versus like two normal people. Like you
That's
know what
true.
I mean? Like,
No, for sure in that sense. But like, say for example, in those type of shows, why wouldn't it just be diverse then? In that sense, like, why would they? It wouldn't matter if the ratio, like, it wouldn't matter to make it 60% of this race or like 2%
honestly,
of
you know what
another
I
race.
think?
'Cause
I
it wouldn't
think
make no
reality
sense.
TV is not real. You know what I mean? I feel like we understand that like when we're watching all of these reality TV show, we're being sold a fantasy that
Yeah.
we're just okay with. Like they do enough for us not to like
Criticize
and be like,
Yeah.
oh, this is crazy. Like, you know, you don't want a show where there's like
No, but people say
my-
it's crazy, but I think they're just not thinking of it in a more rational way.
Yeah.
I think they say it's crazy because of the drama that's going on
Yeah.
in it, and they're like,
No, but
wow,
I'm talking
I can't believe
about
this happened.
I'm talking about in the sense of diversity and all of
Okay.
that. Like they do just enough for us not to really be like, oh, there's no black people on the show.
Yeah,
Like,
They
they do just
Wait,
enough.
man.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I just
Yeah.
see. Oh, there's one guy.
Oh, there's one guy.
there's one
Cool, cool,
So now
cool.
you watch the show like,
Oh,
let's see
there's
what my
an Asian
brother
guy.
been doing, man. Like, let's see if he survives. Let's see if he survives. Which one he gets,
That's
you know?
crazy. That's
But
It's
crazy.
not just enough. You know
But
what I
it's
mean?
kind of weird because then you kind of look at that and it's like, is that supposed to be a beacon of hope? Like, what
I mean,
the fuck? Like, I
to
mean,
some
But
people, I
No,
guess.
but the funny thing is, they've been selling us on those little. They'll give you that crumb right
Exactly.
there. They've been selling
yeah,
us
they've
on
been
that.
selling
It's
us
been
off
in
the
the
beacon
movies,
of
it's
Yeah,
been
the movies
everything.
all the time.
It's everywhere, basically.
Tokenism, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they just
at,
have
work,
to-
at the work
at the workplace, you
Yeah,
know?
where you
Selling
feel
that, oh yeah, we
special.
coming up. yeah.
Exactly. Like, you know, like I know like nobody ever say this, but in the HR room, you know, like sometimes like they just hired a black guy.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like
Yeah,
they just,
just
oh
like,
yeah, let's just
bring
hire
him
him.
in,
He's
get
cool.
him in.
You
You
know?
don't even know. The last 2 times at my workplace, I think for the last 2 months, it was a black person that won like some kind of award, and I'm just
That
sitting
they
there
made
like, yeah, like what? Wait, hold on. So first, last month it was this guy. This month is this woman. I'm like, come on, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
they're just
It's
making
like,
up award for us at this
it's like,
point. You know, the
what
most
do we-
motivated award
Yeah,
goes
right.
to.
And the
No,
thing
because
is,
it's normalized to us too. Because like I
Yeah.
said, when we watch these shows, like I've watched many of these shows, and yeah, that's normalized. Where it's like, you know, the one black guy or the one black woman, like in the whatever space
Yeah.
it is, and we're kind of looking at it and we're cheering on for them, right? We're like, oh, like I hope they do good, and you know, they can figure
Yeah.
out what the situation is, and it's just kind of funny because. When we watch the shit, it's like we're always behind the 8 ball. Like
We are.
you know, it's
Exactly.
like oh, like you just happen to be the only
But-
black guy to make it out of like the, you know. It's
But
like,
that's the thing though. We like, what do we expect? We live in North America. We're in the minority.
Yes,
You know, if we go
exactly.
to Nigeria or we go to Sierra Leone and we put
Yeah.
on a TV show, we are the majority there. So it's like
But,
what we
like-
see is different.
No, but look at football. Look
Yeah,
at how
that's
many
what I
black
mean,
people
is
are
I
in
was, like,
football.
saying
Look
that
how many
it's-
black people are in
Because
basketball.
we're good. That's
But-
why.
yeah,
Like,
but that
No,
When
but
it
that
let
goes
me
to
feel-
show you
excel.
that. No, but that goes to show you that reality TV shows should also have more black people in it. If that's the case, if we have them in all these
Yeah,
different
but, like-
sports, track, they're representing us.
Americans,
Yeah,
they're
but-
representing Americans on a
but they're
global
not just
scale.
those guys are not just there because they're there because they're the best. They're good. They just happen. You just like for instance the whole French
You're saying
team.
we don't have good-looking
No,
black people?
No.
Good-looking
We do
black
have
men?
good looking. I'm just saying the whole French team. The whole French team
Yeah.
is black.
Yeah.
It's black guys from African country that speak French that was colonized by
Yeah,
French.
yeah.
But those guys are just good at soccer. They're just
Yeah.
nasty at soccer. Like if they could put someone else that's French that's just as good as them, they would
I
pick that
wouldn't say
person.
that
I wouldn't
because
say
if you
that.
go by looks, like you can argue,
We can
then,
argue
you know,
that
they're
there's-
equally as good looking.
Easily.
Yeah, we're
Easily.
definitely. I
Easily.
don't think like they don't pick. I don't think
Especially if we're going just off attraction.
Yeah, I don't think
black guys
yeah,
are up there.
We're
For
up, we're
sure,
up there. We're
for
up
sure.
there. But they can't have a.
Physicality,
They can't have a.
physical
There's
Yeah,
no way you can
facts.
tell me.
There's no
any
way.
lineup
Facts,
of any
facts.
show is not gonna have
No
a
Facts,
black
way.
guy.
facts.
Like,
But what
no
I'm saying
way.
is that you can't have a reality TV show of like finding love and then we dominate that sector.
Why not?
Because we're
Why
not the
Because-
majority.
No,
No,
but the
that
thing
doesn't
is, when it comes to sexual prowess, most people are always referring to the black guy.
Yes.
So
especially
therefore,
if it's a show, because it's a show.
It's a
space.
show.
Yeah, but
right?
then we,
So-
but we have to also remember
when it comes to the love sector, we should be there.
But what we have to remember is reality TV is not real. So like, why are we trying to put all these real expectations on something that's not real? It just does enough for you to be to be
get
with
there,
the
watch it.
fantasy. It's not real.
Yeah,
it's not,
that's
true. That is true. I
if
guess
we had
what
to
he's saying
pick,
is true.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
If we had
Like,
to
it's
pick,
not real, but-
if those guys had to pick between like us and like 4 guys, and they'll probably pick us in the
Okay.
reality.
Well,
of
there's a show that this happened. No, there's a show this happened. I don't know if you've seen that. It's like one of those shows like where the guys come like models, and then it had like some women there, but it's weird. Like they had, so it usually has a lot of black men. Like if it's a dating show, have like a lot of have more black men than black women if you're like comparing the two groups, right? So I guess white women, Hispanic women were like having to pick like who was the best, and it was all black guys. They picked like literally like it was majority white guys, but they literally all picked like the 5 black guys that were there. It's
Oh
like
my
yeah,
God.
you, and it was like all,
Look at
and all
that.
the girls were different races. So I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
what? Like how?
I mean,
how
that's,
did they win
that's
out?
the reality. That's the real life. That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
part,
So
you
that
know,
was funny.
That's,
I thought,
yeah,
I'm like,
that's
wait,
real life
you
right
have like
there.
a majority of a different race,
Yeah, that's
and all
real-
of a sudden you choose like literally every single
But I feel
black
like
guy, which is funny.
for dating shows, they just want like that fake fantasy where anybody could fantasy. Like real guys are not like I watch some of these shows, but
I
we're
don't
not.
watch it, but women watch it.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
watch it.
And you're saying it's a fantasy, but we're not in that fantasy. Like, what does that mean?
We could be in that. I'm saying like we don't. I don't think like the person that's supporting the show, that's going to the show to go like watch
Pitch
the
the
show in
idea,
real
man.
life. To go do all of those things, it's not us. You know what I mean?
Okay, so it's not promoted
so
to
it's
us,
not.
you're saying.
Yeah, we're not
okay.
sitting at home and being like, who did she pick for the bachelor?
yeah,
we're
yeah,
not
right,
doing
right,
that.
right,
We're not
right,
fantasy.
right,
We're
right,
living our
yeah.
lives.
So I
You
guess
know
they're
what I mean?
looking at it. We're promoting this not for you to
Yeah.
watch, so that's why you're not represented there. 'Cause, like,
Yeah.
we know maybe you guys aren't even watching.
Watching it
Yeah,
anyway,
we'll watch
Because
it.
for us, it might be more unrealistic with just seeing one black guy. You're like, well, there's only
Exactly.
one
I'm not
person
gonna
there.
go to the
I'm
live,
not gonna
the
watch-
live filming of Love Is. I'm not gonna do that. I don't care that
I
much.
don't care.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
But
but there's people.
I wonder how black women feel about that when they just see like in that world where it's just like it's just Caucasian men. Like, do they want to see black men represented inside those situations or
Probably,
black women
probably.
They
being
do though. They
represented?
have like a 1-2 here and there. They do have those kind
Name
of.
it.
But like,
Name me a show.
but let me ask you a question. How many? Oh, Love is Blind have like a black couple,
yeah,
a couple of black couples. In
Yeah.
the whole overall theme
Yeah,
of the show,
okay.
Love Island have black people all the time.
Okay.
So I think it's there, but like the fanatics, the people that goes to the live viewings,
Yeah, that's
that
the
where the money
demographic
is coming
is different.
from. I don't know any black woman that's doing that.
Yeah,
you're
right.
right,
you're right,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know any-
that's true.
So I
that's
guess
true.
so.
Yeah.
I
They're
guess-
promoting to who spends,
Yeah.
who cuts the check.
Yeah,
cut
who's
the
gonna cut the
check.
check?
Okay, I guess that
where the
makes
money is
sense.
coming from. Yeah, I mean,
I guess that
I guess
makes
marketing,
sense.
we have to do understand that it is agenda based on like what demographic you want, because
Mm-hmm.
you know you can't get every demographic. They
Yes.
probably know, okay, well, yeah, of course we can be diverse and whatnot, but that's not really getting our ratings up, right?
That's
This
true.
is
Nah,
a
we're not gonna.
business.
It's
They're
a
not gonna make no
business.
money
This is a
from
business.
You know what
Like
I
us
mean?
making it diverse maybe puts off other people, right?
Yeah.
So other people
Exactly.
are like, oh, why is there so many? And that's what tends to happen, and that's why a lot of this shit is agenda based, because when like again other races see it's like, how come there's so many of this? Why is this race so
Yeah.
many of? And why? Nah, I'm not watching that show. So
Yeah.
they have to look at where they can make the most money.
Most money.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I do still feel like some reality TV shows do cater to like us minorities. Like even like Pop the Balloon, you can watch the
Yes.
Jamaican version. You can watch.
But these are individual, like little independent stuff.
Independent.
Not like
oh, you're
big,
talking about the big,
Big
yeah,
networks,
like
big
Netflix,
networks, yeah.
like the big shows,
Yeah, but
like
like-
the big platforms that where
Yeah, Love Island is the only one where I would say like, okay, like
Yeah,
there's,
you seem
there's
like
enough
a good representation where
of
you can
black
say,
people
I
where
can
you be like,
digest
yeah.
this
So-
and be okay.
So let's try and wrap it up. We're coming to a closing on the podcast.
Yes, sir.
But I do want to, I guess, so what's your thoughts? What's your final thoughts in terms of these reality TV shows when it comes to relationships and finding love? What's your thoughts on that?
Well,
for
for-
people that do watch it.
For people that watch, I think it's like entertainment. Honestly, it's a lot of entertainment. I think it's fun, you know, for shits and giggles, like for just coming together. You know, whether you're with the woman, you're chilling, you want to watch something like a quick. It's like fast food restaurant. It's like
Right.
easy to digest. You're not really that invested in it. I think it's kind of scripted to the most part. Like
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit set up.
Okay, yeah.
Situation like you said, you'd have
Yeah.
to go on those shows and act. So yeah, I just think that. I think you can still find love on that through those shows, and some of those shows I think some are done better than others.
Okay.
But I think usually they only will work if you're not really trying to pursue the fame side of things too.
Okay.
I think if you're like actually trying to pursue a relationship and trying to build with those fundamentals, because you being on a show doesn't change anything about who you are.
Yes.
But through the show and through the antics of the show, that could change how things work out.
Mm-hmm.
But if you find someone, you might be able to make it work out just
Yeah.
based on who you are.
Yeah, you can find love at these shows, but I think for the majority of the part is basically just entertainment. Like
Absolutely.
it's unrealistic. You know, you could find what you're looking for, but it's still an unrealistic circumstance, and it doesn't really represent what like real love is or real relationships are. But you could definitely find something there, but I just still feel like it's just not a realistic like version of what real life love looks like to me.
I would agree on that. I would say that it's more of like a manufactured lab where they're kind of organizing how people will meet each other, and they put them in scenarios in which to make it as make the odds as favorable as possible, and they'll try and do little things to spice it up, things that you wouldn't necessarily see in a real life situation or just in reality. They try to go above and beyond, just like an actor would, like in movies, like in terms of their expressions and how they express themselves. A person in reality wouldn't necessarily express themselves to that extent, but they have to over exaggerate emotions so that the audience could feel the emotions. So
Do you think that would apply to online dating? Because what you said
Yes.
can be
Yes.
put to online dating of like creating
You do.
an image,
You do.
creating a,
You do. I think you have to-
create a persona.
you definitely have to oversell yourself because the people don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in reality, you don't have to sell yourself to that
That
degree.
hard. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
yeah.
So you definitely have to oversell yourself in order to get what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And that's what I would say about this episode.
Overselling, yeah. So I
Overse-
guess
so
that
it's
is true.
overselling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you always
oversell
have to
yourself.
oversell.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that realistic though? Would you say that's a realistic thing to do? Like you overselling yourself, is that wrong?
Overselling yourself is never wrong because in marketing, they do it all the time. They oversell their products all the time. When you get it, even if you're not happy with it, you'll live with it. So that's how
But
overselling is.
I think where that comes, where the problem lies in that is if you're overselling a product that you're not. You know what I mean? Like if you oversell the fact that like, oh, this product is supposed to do this.
Women
and then-
oversell themselves all
Yeah,
the time with the
but that's
makeup, with the
what I'm talking
eyelashes,
about, overselling.
Okay, but
with the
I-
wigs and the
yeah,
weaves.
but like
and
I'm
the,
just saying, as a
what we doing?
if you over here overselling yourself in a way where like it's not really authentic to who you really are, you know what I mean? Or like if you say you're overselling yourself, like okay, I bought this product from Amazon that's supposed to cut my hair, and then I get the product, it doesn't cut my hair, then there's a problem. You know what I mean? I think that's where the problem of overselling comes, where it's like you over promising, you're selling a perspective that you think people will gravitate towards rather than yourself. You know what I mean?
I think there's a level to how much you can oversell and get away with. And then there's another level of where you're completely overselling yourself and you can't produce the results.
I'd say it's dangerous to oversell. Of course, you want to oversell in order to attract people, but it is dangerous to oversell because, again, when you find out that that person isn't what you thought they were, that could be the end of things.
That could be.
So
At
I
least if you're
think-
gonna oversell yourself, make sure that you're selling yourself. You know what
like
I mean?
what I'm trying to say is, I rather if I'm thinking long term, I rather meet a woman when she never tried to oversell herself to me.
Me too.
I wouldn't want to
Exactly.
meet a
Me
woman
too.
when she oversold herself to me, and then to find out
Then they can't match
later
up to
that you're
what
not
they.
matching up to what I thought you were.
Yeah.
I want you to be authentic from the beginning.
Yeah.
So we can say we all oversell ourselves.
We all
but-
oversell
We all
ourselves.
oversell, but
We all
at the same
oversell
time,
ourselves.
you know, like you want to oversell yourself and still be
But that's what I'm
authentic
saying.
I don't know
to
if
yourself.
I oversell myself. I
Yeah,
think I
I'm
like
still-
to be authentic
I'm
enough.
authentic
Like,
to myself.
yeah,
I might
I don't think I try to oversell
Yeah,
that
I might
much. Like,
over exaggerate some parts of me,
Like, yeah.
but it's still me. I'm not over here.
But
I don't
still-
paint my face and then
Yeah,
making
but-
pretend to be
yourself look
somebody
good
else.
and have a good
Yeah.
first impression is always good, but overselling is, I think, when you exaggerate things that aren't you.
Yeah, where
It's
it's not you at all.
over-exaggeration,
Like
okay.
it's not you at all. And now you're just selling whatever. You know what I mean?
That's it.
So what's the final word there? Then don't oversell yourself or oversell yourself.
Sell yourself within reason, I'd say.
You
Sell
can
yourself
oversell
within
yourself, but make
reason.
sure you're selling yourself, not someone else.
There we go. And there we have it.
it.
It is Far From Normal Podcast, and we are out. Deuces.